Here I come, rougher than the rest of them, the best of them, tougher than leather. You can call me Sonic. Ah, shoot.
Good. That's what you get. That's what you deserve.
Before we get started, you heard the good news about Sonic 2?
The good news or
Yeah,
the news.
I think it's
But
good news.
sometimes celebrity voiceovers, or I don't want to say celebrity voiceover, but whoever they chose to do the voice acting is like whatever.
Uh,
It's just a voice,
I mean,
unless it's like
I feel that Idris Elba can definitely deliver in terms of like the voice, especially if he keeps his British accent. I think that would be a great dichotomy between like Sonic and Knuckles. Like he's kind of British or maybe Australian. I don't know, but more tougher
no,
compared to Sonic's
no,
like fast, slick talking. You know what I mean? I
no.
think that would be
I
awesome.
don't. I don't think he
And
should
if
have
Idris
A
Elba
British
can
accent.
give us unknown to me with his voice and a new remix, yo, I'm all over that movie, man. I'm telling you.
I don't think he should have a British accent. That's all.
Oh,
I
for
don't
real?
mind it. I don't mind Idris Elba, but like I would just be like, if you like, it's not even about continuity. It's just so is he from England? Like,
I mean, you don't
what
have to
is
think
it?
about it. It just has a British accent. He's like,
No,
what is it? You know
no,
that tough British accent where it's like, oh, you might, like, or
that's
something like,
no. That's not British. That was Australian.
okay, Australian. Okay, I mean, like, there's a type of British accent. Like, I don't know the correct term, so I don't want to attempt to, pronounce it. But those people from like, I guess with the tougher neighborhoods who have like this rough and tough accent.
Do you hear yourself right?
I do hear myself. What are you talking about?
I think if you listen to this, you'll be like, "What was I talking about?"
And for those who are just coming in or listening, this is Steve and Sterl. We're the 8BG, and you're listening to the 8BGCAST. If you like this video and others on our channel, give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Helps us out a lot. And we'd love to give you more content. So, yes, today we're talking about the Suicide Squad and the Steam Deck. So which one you want to
No,
do
you
first?
can't. You can't say the Steam Deck because the is not important in Steam Deck, but it's
Yeah,
super
but
important in the Suicide
okay,
Squad.
it's the Suicide Squad, but also I want the alliteration of
And
like
we're
the
talking
Steam
about
Deck.
Steam alliteration to the Steam. No, we don't call it the Steam Deck.
It just sounds. It's not like I had to say it. The Suicide Squad, the Steam Deck. But Steam Deck is two
It
words,
doesn't
right?
even make sense to say the Steam Deck. I
Yeah.
know that we're talking like
It just flows that.
this was no,
So
it
that's
doesn't
not. No,
flow.
it's asking me
This is
time I'm
one of
going
the
to say
worst.
the
This is one of the
Suicide
worst ways
Squad
to
and
try to
the Steam
connect.
Deck.
No, okay. I don't think I've heard anyone say the Steam Deck.
Yeah, but we're the
Unless
first
they were
ones.
talking about a Steam Deck that was there and they had to say, get the Steam Deck over there. But no one says, oh, I'm going to go play the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
Hand me that Steam Deck.
Terrible. Stop it. That was just
hand me
really
the
bad.
Steam Deck.
That was cringe.
That's what we're here for. I mean, that's what I'm here for. That's what I provide the cringe of the episode today.
That was borderline cringe. But go ahead.
Okay. But yeah, definitely let's get into gaming first, real quick. The Steam Deck. The reason why I had to hit you up before is because I know you're a big fan of Steam and Valve and all they do. And since you're not the biggest fan of the Nintendo Switch,
I wouldn't say I'm not. I was gonna say I'm not necessarily would say I'm a big fan of Steam. Steam is one of the only places you can just get every game on. So it's like, you kind of have to have Steam if you're a PC gamer.
That's true. I mean, as a PC gamer, you're primarily PC gamer, so that's probably the platform you probably interact with the most. I don't really use Steam that much, honestly. So I know that's more of your turf. So I want to know your opinion, especially being that you're not the biggest fan of the Switch either. So I wanted to know what's your take on this and what do you foresee?
If it's marketed right, if anyone doesn't know what the Steam Deck is, it's Steam is getting back into the console craze, kind of, but not really. But they're designing basically a portable PC that is similar to a Nintendo Switch, but not quite the same, but the same idea almost. This is not Valve's first attempt at a system that they are releasing.
Box, right?
They did something called Steam Boxes, which was a big failure. I don't know if it was a big failure, but it was definitely a failure. They tried
how long ago was that
something
again?
else. I don't know, maybe 7-8 years ago, something like that, I think. Then they tried, which was just them trying to create computers that ran Steam that you can buy like a console almost, but they didn't really have a unified like developer for them. So I think you can get Steam boxes from like this company, so it was just all over the place. Then they were really late, and then it ran like Linux and didn't work well at the time. It couldn't play a lot of games that you would have on Steam that you needed Windows. So it was like kind of stupid. So now then they had the Steam Link, which did what it was supposed to do pretty well, at least for me, which was basically it was a little box that you plug into your TV and you connect it to your network that your computer's connected to, and you could stream your PC games using big picture mode, which is like Steam's kind of console interface for, it's a television interface. So it's easier to select games and stuff. You don't need a mouse. It's, everything's menu driven really nicely. Not nicely, but it's pretty decent. That worked, but failed because I just don't think it was really necessary for the crowd of people that owned PC. They would just play on their PC. And that came with a Steam controller too.
Yeah, that was the controller that had like
one of these bad boys. Yeah, I got these. I think I paid $10 for this. Because they were just I paid $20.
Liquidated
I paid
pretty
$1
much like after a while.
Yeah.
Like, they were like mad cheap.
Yeah, they were getting rid of them. I paid $1 for the Steam Link. That's what
I remember that. Yeah,
because when they were getting rid of that, and it works fine. The controller's not bad either. It's not great. Like Xbox would still be the best PC controller, an Xbox One controller or whatever, but this is still pretty good. They tried some unique things that they actually are kind of retrying again in the newer system. So in the Steam, what is it? Steam Deck? What is it called? All right, Steam Deck.
The Steam Deck.
So what do I think? No, don't stop. So what do I here's the thing. If I hear a lot so far, the like feedback from people that went to test it and see it has been super positive. It seems like they really did R&D on what will work on it and how to run games on it. It's basically a pocket computer in a way like a laptop it could never be. It's using, I think it's called RNDA or RDNA 2, which is similar architecture to what's in PS5s and
they said that it would be as powerful as at least the last generation, like a PS4.
No, yeah, it's not. It's definitely not going to be as powerful as a PS. But in terms of the CPU and the computing stuff, it's using the latest and greatest in technology. But obviously, because of the size, you can't house a full graphics card and all that stuff, and the things needed to cool a system like that. However, from what I've seen, so here's the thing too. The screen is 720p, right? 720p is not OLED display, which is probably the biggest miss. But it's a 720, so you don't, when it comes to PC gaming, and you're moving fast and stuff, you don't need 1080. So running games at 720p, especially with as much power as these things are having, you can get games running smoothly.
And it's a dedicated handheld, so it's not like
it's a dedicated handheld,
to TV or computer or anything like that.
Right. Normally. And they're going to release a dock for it that will let you turn it into a basically a computer. And it's a computer. You can, when you get it, it won't be a computer like Windows, but it's using Linux, like the custom Linux that you probably sign into your Steam account. You'll have all your games. It comes in, but also it being Linux and other things, you can't run some of the most popular games on it right off the bat. Like Fortnite, you can't play on it.
I'm sure it'll come eventually because Fortnite's on everything. So.
Well, no, it won't
Oh,
because
really?
Fortnite. I don't think so because that would mean Fortnite would have to be on Steam. And
I
Fortnite's
forgot.
not
Yes, I
going to
forgot.
Steam.
Yeah, I forgot what happened. What is it called?
So
Epic Games
they
have
got
their own
that big.
store now.
So here's the thing: there's a way around it because obviously you can just install Windows on it and then do it that way. But then again, so then you'll have two operating systems. It might be a little whatever. But with that said, I think it's great. Of course, you know how I feel about the Switch.
Mm-hmm. I think you made that very clear. The biggest fan.
And I think ideally I might feel the same way about this kind of where I don't know. It's like the same issues to me would apply with the Switch where I could just play it on my computer. So why play it on this? But the other thing that's different than the Switch is every time Switch, I have to buy a bunch of games and stuff to play on it, right?
These
are probably games.
You can always download the games as well.
I have to buy the games though. Doesn't matter. I have to buy games.
Sorry. I thought you meant like the physical condition.
No, yeah, I still have to purchase games, and to me on the Switch, they're always it's the lower end version of a game, most likely, right? It'll be streaming a game. If it's a certain game, it'd be I might have to stream it, or it's like you can tell they cut corners. They get it to work, but whereas this, I have a whole library already. I have like 300 plus Steam games already. So when I buy this thing, I'm already decked out with as many games. I don't have to buy any games for it. I have a lot. So, and this will get me to play a lot of these other kind of 2D games that I have on Steam. Like I have Bloodstained. I have the Bloodstained series and stuff. I have a lot of 2D games that kind of when I'm sitting at my computer and I want to play like a shooter because it's my. But with this, I would definitely be willing to play a lot of these other games that I probably wouldn't play, just because A, it's already there. I have so many games, and B, these games aren't super powerful, so they're not going to drain the battery. So far, from what I heard, the battery life on this thing is actually pretty decent. They said it somewhere between like 6 to 10 hours, depending on what you're playing. So probably really heavy games and stuff won't work. But one of the games they showed, which is a big deal, is they showed this game called Control. And Control is one of the heaviest running. Now, they didn't show exactly how it was running. I'm sure it's probably running 30 frames per second, whatever. But the fact that if it can run that decently, this thing is beastly. And one of the reasons it's really beastly is because of the landscape of PC gaming right now, where it's impossible to get parts to make a PC.
Yes, I heard that.
And they said they were.
I was going to say that, since the pandemic, there's been a shortage of chips. So for like cars and, any electronics, PS5, Xbox 360, 360s, Xbox Series X.
Series X, yeah, whatever. I said it wrong, right?
It's like it's so hard to get. Dumb. So it's like, these chips are so rare. So it's going to be interesting to see how this kind of pans out this holiday season, considering the lack of chips. But go ahead. What you're saying?
So here's the thing. So with that, also scalpers have been going crazy. Yeah. Anytime a graphics card is released or anything, they buy it in bulk or whatever, and there's nothing we can do about it. So the fact that this, I think there'll be scalpers for this, but Valve is also taking precautions in how people purchase. I don't know exactly what they're doing, but they're trying to go out of their way to make sure that something like what's happening to the other consoles aren't happening. And this is great in terms of maybe, if you're there's a lot of people that do not have a PS4 and do not have, a PS5 and do not have an Xbox Series X. And, depending on how good the dock is, this could be a nice way to get people to get onto PC gaming. And not only that, they'll be on the Steam platform, which is just what Valve wants. Exactly.
I was gonna say that this is actually pretty genius because I did read a little bit about the Steam Deck, and the look of it is like it's a good looking system. It looks it's bigger than the Switch, but I think a lot that's fine. It's a lot bigger than the Switch because I saw the comparisons. But it looks very good, looks very cool. Like, it looks cool. That's the thing. Like,
Yeah.
looking cool is it sounds very vague and kind of generic, like, what's cool, but it has an attractive look to it that that you wouldn't be ashamed of bringing outside, or it doesn't look like something that, I mean, I guess if you have to bring like a backpack or like a carry-on, to kind of take it out with you, but I don't think it'll be that much big of an issue. I mean, as you mentioned before, as you're already part of the Steam platform, so right then and there, they already have a built-in fan base with like
my library is huge for this thing. I don't even own yet.
And if you can just kind of stream it from there, or just play games, download it, whatever it is, that's amazing. And then also on top of that too, it's like you're right about like a lot of people who don't have the PS5 and Xbox Series X, who feel like they're missing out, like they want to kind of like get a new console, a new device, but they don't have it. If Valve plays their cards right and they're able to kind of like kind of stop the bleeding of like of what do you call it, scalpers, the scalpers that cause the bleeding, and like in terms of high prices, I think they may have a hit in their hand. Like I can sense this winning. Like I just like the Switch.
A lot of people are kind of excited for this thing. It's different than like other consoles from Valve or things where people are like, what are they doing? But I hear people saying this looks like this could be a winner. The pricing is great, is pretty good, $400 for the lowest end.
That's not bad.
Now it has expandable memory too, so you can just that's one of 64 gigs, which is nothing.
So it takes SD card, or
I think it's mini or whatever, something mini SD
card, not the big one, like the micro SD card.
It might be micro SD. I'm not sure. Don't quote me, but it takes those. It has expandable storage, which is good. I heard that if you're serious about it, you should probably get the next model because of the kind of storage. Because this uses, I think the 64 gigs is like some kind of flash storage, but the 256 one is actually NVMe, which is the high end fast, the stuff that's in the PS5 and stuff in terms of data transfer.
Okay.
So it's that future proofs it a little bit more than the other one, and you can't really change that kind of storage. You can always have more regular storage, but this NVMe, and 256 gigs, especially for the kind of games you might be playing on that thing, will be more than enough. So yeah, I think it's going to be good. They did a lot of, I watched Linus Tech Tips videos, whatever, and he did this big thing on it. And he showed where the heat, how it feels, because these things have to blow. He said it's not that loud in terms of fan noise. It dissipates the heat pretty well too. So, everything I've seen so far, the controller feels great. He said it has kind of like the Steam controller where it has triggers on the back, like down here, as well as triggers here. So you have a lot of different control ways you can play. Also, one of the things is like similar to the Switch, but PC gaming is much bigger when it comes to multiplayer than I would say like the Switch is. Not that the Switch, but how clunky that can be. Right?
Yeah, I mean, sort of. I mean,
No, bro, do you still have to log on to that Nintendo app to talk to people?
Oh yeah, so that, yeah, I mean
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think I mean, when it comes to online multiplayer, like you're not using.
It's fine if you want to play, right? If you want to play on Nintendo, that's fine. They fixed that at least. It's much better than it used to be. But in terms of like talking with your group and stuff, like most people are like, okay, let's just get into Discord and do it. But like, if you're not a Discord guy or whatever, like. I remember I tried it and I was using it and I was like, okay, it's kind of working, but it makes no sense. Some of it's so weird.
Because you know what? It's archaic because the fact that now communication is so more streamlined nowadays. So if you're going to talk to somebody, you might as well just give them a call. If it's a friend that you know, most of the time you're talking to somebody that you know, right? So because you only could talk to people on your friends list.
But if you're playing a game like every other system before, where it's just easy to plug in a thing and have a menu there and I can just talk to my friend instead of having to use a different device to do it. Like, that's the issue.
I mean, I think that it's the Nintendo decision to not, have any,
stupid.
It's stupid, but in a way I see where Nintendo's coming from because they want to avoid any stories about, certain people meeting, underage children, on their platform and things like that. They want to kind of like skeet away from that and not have to, pay for like extra things such as like monitoring.
They're not, to me, they can't, that doesn't avoid this to me. I feel like they're still like, when I remember playing Smash Brothers, what was it, 4, whatever, and running into constant N words playing it because people can just change their names to it on the screen whenever you like. People will figure out how to do something like that. So to me, why not just give?
Here's the thing though, that the difference is that that name calling thing, they don't really do anything about that anyway. But even if they were to find a way, if they were to find a way around that, Nintendo wouldn't be part of that.
But what's the difference of if you're playing a game and you're using the app and you're still talking to somebody or whatever? However you do it,
isn't it the app? I haven't used the app personally, or I don't remember last time I used the app. But isn't it you only could talk to friends on your friends list?
I think it depends on in the game. If you're in the game,
because then how would you communicate to them to help them? Like, hey, I want to chat with you. You know what I mean? Like,
I remember using it, and I was pretty sure whoever I was talking to popped up. I don't even know. I don't remember if it was a friend or not. But it was weird. It was just weird. I just feel like there's no, to me, people anyway, what people do anyway to circumvent Nintendo's stupid friend stuff is they go online anyway and get someone's friend
go around
code.
Nintendo. So if they go around Nintendo, that's on them. You know what I mean?
But it's still using Nintendo's friend code to do it. So what does it matter? It's still like, it's not to me.
Because they could,
like, you're trying to say they're trying to avoid being enabling people to do it.
Not enabling, but they don't want the news story to be part of that news story where if someone.
But their name will still be connected to it if it's still like someone did this on a Nintendo. They were playing a Nintendo and they're still in it.
And they can always say, like, hey, they went around. We safeguard our stuff, and they went around that.
They could say that even when if they did a good
maybe, but I feel like they're trying to I think it's a combination thing. They're trying to be cheap and also trying to avoid like bad press.
I think it's stupid because I feel like when they first did their Switch, I mean, not the Switch, the Wii, and their whole idea was we want to limit this there. But every system, they've been letting it go a little more and letting it go a little more. They're eventually going to get to a point where they'll be like, oh, it's easy to talk to your friends here. Now you can do it like this. We're just Nintendo. We just we'll say one thing, but we're really just behind in this aspect. That's what I feel like.
I mean,
but anyway,
it could be that they're behind, so.
I think they kind of still feel like online play isn't the most biggest thing for their systems. I feel like so. I feel like that.
Feel like that, but I feel like they can see that online is like the future of gaming. So that's pretty much where it's at.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so because you see their online games, they're still not that good.
Yeah, that's on them because they don't want to pay for a better infrastructure.
So how could they think that that's the future if they're not willing to do that?
They're abiding. They're trying to still dip their.
They're slowly getting to it, but I don't. But I think
but they're also trying to save money by not because
they
can easily. If Nintendo wanted to, they can easily pour in money to get a better infrastructure. But
if they thought it was that way, they would do that. I still think they think okay. To me, this is how I know they don't think that, and it's because they took too long with the Switch dock. The fact that they now added the connection port and didn't have it before to directly connect a high-speed connection means it wasn't their priority. It's starting to be that way, but it wasn't back then. They were like, okay, Wi-Fi, because putting Wi-Fi on your device is super easy, right? Like every device has. So they were like, we're going to do Wi-Fi, but I think, and I don't blame them because the Switch to me wasn't necessarily like something where I felt like people are going to have a Switch and want to use it for online play. I think the idea was go everywhere, play with your friends outside. Like the commercial, remember
exactly.
They were playing at a park.
Every party you go to, you bring a Switch. You know what I mean?
And I think that's still the idea behind it. Whereas you can take it, play it, plug it in anywhere really quick, or just play right there. And I'm not even faulting that. They obviously it's selling stupid, and they were right. They gambled on that. They didn't go to traditional of buffing their internet infrastructure and say online play is the next thing.
Yeah, because they did money at the end of the day.
I don't think they want to save money. I think they said this is what gaming is. We want gaming to be like this. We want gaming to be a more in-person experience. So they'll have online play because they're going to be nerds that want it. But they said they're targeting kids who aren't necessarily going to be super online gamers. They want that couch co-op thing. Like they want that. And they made it super easy to play with a friend that they don't even need a controller. Because here, Switch comes with these controllers already. They made it so, but that's how this is way off topic.
All right. So
So
we're talking about
anyway,
the Steam Deck.
the difference between the Steam Deck 2 is obviously it doesn't do exactly what the Switch does because you can't take off the controllers and pass it to a person. So, but in terms of what it is, it's pretty much a PC Switch. You could say it's a PC Switch. I think it'll do great. We'll see, because Valve has been known to still kind of mess things up just for whatever reason. They, besides Steam itself, they really haven't had too many other outside endeavors that worked really well. I know they have a VR machine. I don't know, it costs $1,000, but I don't know how well that did.
I don't know. I don't hear a lot of people talk about that. I mean, at least when I mean a lot of people, I mean people kind of outside like the circle of gaming, and
I've never really heard much about it.
Like I just heard I had a coworker who mentioned her kids use the VR thing, but they're like those hardcore. They're like the team.
But it could be. But VR can be. There's so many VR machines, but I'm just saying Steam had their own, which I can't remember what it was called, but it was because they released this game Half-Life Alyx, which was like a big deal because it hasn't been a Half-Life game in so long. And have people like Half-Life 3 confirmed. They do that on every meme because they're waiting for it so much. But Half-Life Alyx was the newest Half-Life game in years, and it came with
when does the Steam Deck come out?
I want to say it's kind of soon.
This year, I think
like
October,
this year. I think it's this holiday. Yeah, it's right. It's this year.
I'm interested to see the sales to see how well it does, because I feel like for gamers we know about Steam, but I don't know how Steam penetrates outside that gaming bubble. So like I don't know if like mom and dad's gonna be like, oh, let me get that Steam Deck.
It's gonna December 2021.
Oh, December,
so right around the holiday.
All right.
So right around the holidays.
It'll be interesting to see. I think Valve will probably need to buff their marketing, or they might not market it hard yet, and they wait to see what happens during the holidays. And if they feel like you didn't sell as much as it did, they'll probably like start rolling out maybe a commercial or two. I don't know. I don't know what their method is.
All right, let's go on to our other topic.
All right, the other topic of the podcast is
the
ABG. You see, look at this. Everything's
ABG.
Yeah, the ABG. All right, right before the Batman comes out, we actually are gonna watch the Suicide Squad. And before we get into that, let me ask you a question. What did you think of the first Suicide Squad? Well, I can go. You see, you're talking a lot, so let me give you a break.
Yeah, go ahead.
I actually thought the first Suicide Squad was just okay. I feel like it missed. I feel like it had the right elements in terms of the characters and like kind of like what they were going for. I feel like they missed the mark with like a lot of the villains. I feel like having like a mystical, superstitious villains, like magical villains, was kind of like the wrong way to go with that team, because I think the idea of using prisoners to take on a task, as a Black Ops team is a really cool idea. I just don't feel like that really meshed with the magic portion, especially in that movie, because it was very silly. Like I remember that girl doing the belly dancing and all that kind of stuff, and whatever. But I did like it was part of the DC universe. What happened?
I was gonna ask you a question if you knew about the development of the movie, if you knew anything about it.
All right, so I know that there is a different cut called it's not officially called, but I think
I don't think there's a. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
People call it like this. They said the original director, or I believe David Ayer. I have to make sure his name correctly. He had a different version of it, but I guess because of the success of Guardians of the Galaxy, they wanted to make it more like that. And Deadpool as well. So they kind of made it a little bit more colorful. They added a lot of pop songs to it, and they kind of redid the whole movie from its original version. So a lot of fans online have asked to see a different cut, but apparently there isn't one. As far as
I don't think it exists, because even like the Justice League cut, it's not like a similar situation where it wasn't like there was obviously there was things shot and going to be in a certain way, and then they and when they got it to studio, they cut it up and stuff and made it different. But even people said like with the Justice League cut, there wasn't like a cut that just was not released. They went back and made it his vision. Real, so I think they would have to do the same with his movie too. I think they would have to go back.
Honestly, I think
change it.
I don't know how well Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League did for Warner Brothers, because I thought it was amazing. but I don't know.
It was critically much better received.
Critically much better received, but I don't know commercially if it brought in more viewers to HBO Max. I don't think it did. So I don't know if they want to invest in trying to redo another whole movie again. But that'd be interesting.
No, I heard there's it's still things on slate for that. Not maybe his specific universe, but I think
because I think since it was on HBO Max, I think they were kind of like hedging it to like bring in more viewers. I don't know if they did. I don't know if you heard that anything.
I heard it did. It had a lot of viewers. I don't know if it. I heard it.
Or new subscribers. If it brought in new subscribers.
Well, here's the thing about that. I don't know if you can, because here's the thing about this. Like if most people weren't subscribed before, they probably did a trial just to watch the movie and then cancel the trial. But according to at least what they said, a lot of people watched it. So whether they got subscriptions or not, it's still a good sign that it brought a lot of people to watch it. Can I talk about the original Justice? Not the Justice. What is it called? Suicide Squad?
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. I was gonna say you're right in terms of it was cut up and they redid a lot of things. I think it's one of the worst movies ever. I'm not even kidding. It's really bad. Like we can just start talking about like, okay, the Joker didn't fit.
Yeah.
They cut but obviously part of it's because they cut so much in that movie. Like if you really go back and rewatch it and examine it, the whole movie is out of order because they just took scenes and they had to add different dialogue and change, and it doesn't make sense. Now, here's a good thing I want you to do after this podcast is go back and watch the 2015 or the first trailer for that Suicide Squad movie. Suicide Squad, not the just watch the first trailer, watch the music and the tone of it. And that, to me, I remember seeing that trailer and being hyped as hell for that movie because it looked awesome. The energy in it, everything about it looked really cool. And then the next trailer, then they started having this pop music shit, and I said, "Oh, this looks terrible now."
Like the corporate
that first trailer, I went back just after watching the Suicide Squad. I went back and watched that first original trailer, and I was like, "Damn!" I don't know how good it would have been, but it felt like I wanted to see that movie. And then this new one, like you said, I was watching a video of someone analyzing it, and in the first like 20 minutes, they play like 15 different licensed music tracks. It's insane.
Yeah, I actually, after I watched the Suicide Squad, I decided to watch a little bit of Suicide Squad because I hadn't seen it since it came out. And it's just like it's cut very fast, and it's kind of like each character has their own song and playing and everything. They said, and I was just like, man, this is like you can really tell.
The studio
felt like MTV Suicide Squad.
The studio that cut the movie only cuts they've done professionally were movie trailers. That's what I heard. The studio and it kind of feels like that. It's cut terribly. The idea of the movie, the characters in it aren't really well used. I mean, they're there. But
I think what I liked about the movie, because you're right about the Joker. Like I told you, I always forget that Joker's in that movie, and not only that too, it was really a bad rendition of the Joker, where it was just like I wanted to like him because I thought he had a cool look, but his laugh and his performance, I don't know what was cut, what was not, but it came off in that movie like really firing.
They weren't firing.
I actually liked Will Smith as Deadshot. I thought he, looked the part. He was really cool. He gave a good performance. And again, I like the interaction with other DC characters, like how Batman made an appearance in the movie, and he was kind of in front of Will Smith and everything. I thought that was kind of cool.
I guess.
But again, I think when they start going on the mission, I think I like also I think Viola Davis as Amanda Waller is like perfect casting, kind of like on par with like Patrick Stewart as Professor X in a way, even though he wasn't a direct translation of the character. I think Professor X was like American or whatever, but I'm kind of like going out of kind of rambling.
Yeah.
But Amanda Waller, Viola Davis was great as Amanda Waller, and some good performances. I just feel like the direction of the movie just kind of like lost my interest when they kind of got into like the magical portion of it. I think
everything, the characters to me were not good. Like
Harley Quinn. When was the last time you saw Suicide Squad?
maybe years ago, but I've watched pieces of it. When I
Okay.
fully watched it, Harley Quinn to me, like you kind of look at everybody who was chosen for the missions, and even in the new one, Harley Quinn has always been kind of, in my opinion, like she's a character that's so popular that that's why she's there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Instead of it being storyline, instead of it making sense in the storyline, how everybody else kind of can do something, but she's just Harley Quinn, and we need Harley Quinn because
She has
she's
a mean
marketable.
baseball swing.
Because you look at her, it's not like she's even super strong.
Mhm.
She's just like a piece of ass.
I mean, yeah,
And
you got a bunch of guys going on a mission.
I mean,
So
I'm glad
I don't know. That's probably the reason
they covered her. They covered her up in this movie a little bit.
Yeah.
In the first movie, she was like pretty much naked,
Yeah,
and all she had was
pretty
a
much
bat.
like assless chaps in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So, but yeah, so it was just really bad. It wasn't funny. It wasn't, the characters were just, I didn't care about anything. And the funny thing is, Del Diablo's like, oh, I lost one family. I'm not losing this one. Like y'all just met. Y'all not that cool.
Yeah.
Y'all went on this mission. Like, this is the same day. It all takes place in one day when they brought to that mission. I'm not losing this family. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Do you remember that scene where the girl was doing like the belly dancing? Yo, bro, come on.
She was not good.
It was just so
Cara
weird.
Delevingne or whatever. She was when she was and then trying to. That was part of her character, the witch, whatever. It was bad. And let's get the witch's brother. And then we need Killer Croc to do something. So it has to be water here, so he can be useful. But no, the movie was bad. And it was bad because it was just at least the way it was edited. I mean, I'm not saying it would have been great if it was his cut, but they learned their lesson with this new movie. Let's go into the new one.
Definitely, yes. So the Suicide Squad, I feel is much, much better than the first movie, but I feel I didn't like it as much as I wanted to. Like I think maybe my expectations were I didn't have a lot of expectations, but I did see a lot of people rating it, a lot of high, critical scores and everything. So I was kind of anticipating something to blow me away. And even though I think this blows the first movie out of the water, it still didn't capture me like I wanted it to. So I feel like I'm still kind of like borderline, like, oh, it's a good movie, but it doesn't make me go like, wow, that's amazing. Even though they had some good scenes. Yeah, so that's how I felt watching the movie. But in terms of like the look of the movie is shot wonderfully. It's a good looking movie. Special effects, everything's on point as you would expect. And the characters are much better. I feel like they have a better cast of characters to kind of like follow along with, and I think even some characters have been improved, such as Rick Flag. I feel like in the first movie he was more forgettable.
Yeah.
Like,
he was great in this movie. He felt organically in it. He felt like a character that like you could tell what he was into. He was chill too. He wasn't like in the first movie. He was like spouting lines, and I just felt like he was there.
And I feel like this is a movie smaller cast, right? Like I feel like I don't remember how many Suicide Squad members was in the last one, but I feel like this one has a more manageable cast. I mean, for the ones who actually survive the entire movie, the ones they kind of go with, I feel like they kind of bloat it in the beginning to kind of like, and then as time goes on, it's kind of more streamlined, so you can really feel these characters. I feel like maybe the other one was a little bit too bloated with certain characters.
Yeah, because they didn't really do anything. Like, what do you need Captain Boomerang for in the first movie? What did he do? Nothing. But it's like, nobody felt like they were needed. They just were there.
And this time it feels a little more streamlined and better.
I'll say, I felt that, I agree with you. The movie was much, much better than the previous Suicide Squad. I won't lie. I really enjoyed it. Like, I felt like great after watching it. Partially because the last two movies I watched were Space Jam and the new Space Jam, and I watched Fast 9, and I've been terribly disappointed, like with just these bad, not fun to watch movie. And this movie was entertaining. I mean, it made me laugh. The action was good. The story was stupid, but to me it was comic book fun. It was fun. were there things they could have done better? I think so. Spoilers for
Oh
anybody,
yeah,
but
let's
I think
talk
the
about spoilers.
whole I think the whole beginning scene was I think there was a lot of cool characters that I wanted to see a little bit more of, but
Yeah,
then they were
what's his
just
name?
like this team. They were like, oh, let's just kill them all. Let's kill this whole team, and except for Harley Quinn because she's never gonna die.
Mhm.
But let's kill all these characters. And I was like, okay. And I think it was cool killing like, okay, Captain Boomerang, see it. Like
Mhm.
all these characters. I was like, okay, but they did. It was too much. It was like I wanted to see they. And I get it. They pull the rug from under your feet.
What's the character's name? The actor with the blonde hair. I'm forgetting his name. SNL dude. Shoot.
Oh, I don't know.
I always have his name on top of my head. I can't, or whatever his name is, the blonde dude from SNL.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
he
played
the guy that
Black
betrays
Guardian.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah, the guy that betrays them.
He even though he's not in the whole movie, I think he had one of the biggest impacts because he was kind of funny, and I kind of wanted to see what he was gonna do because I felt like he could bring like a sense of humor that's like unintended. But it's like, like in the beginning, he was doing some funny things, like, he was next to a guard. And,
yeah.
And the guard's like,
yeah, I thought,
and that was funny. And then the whole thing with the werewolf, like, oh man, you got me sitting next to a werewolf. I was just like, okay, this guy has to have a couple more funny scenes.
I think it was, I liked, I didn't like how they killed them all. Like, I don't mind that those characters died, but I felt like they should have been maybe given a little bit more to do.
Yeah.
I didn't, the guy who swam away and got blown up because of that.
Mm-hmm.
He's such a good actor that I was really hoping, he played Yondu in Guardians of the Galaxy. I was like, and he's good in a lot of things that he's in. I was like, damn, I really wish he was in the movie more. He could have been just maybe one more character. I think the movie would have been better with. But that aside, I think, like I said, the action was good. Idris Elba played a better version of Deadshot, pretty much.
Yeah,
same situation, daughter situation, but they made him kind of unlikable a little bit, which I kind of liked in the beginning. Like, not that they really made him unlikable, but they shown how he wasn't this perfect father.
Exactly. Like, I like the idea that
I like that, and it felt believable. Like, I'm mad you got caught stealing a fucking watch phone, or whatever it was, and so I was like. But the fact that you can still tell he did care about his daughter in some way, that he, I think Amanda Waller was much better in this movie too. Just much more scarier.
Except for one scene, but go ahead.
What scene?
So, spoilers, as we mentioned before, I didn't like how they hit her in the head in the last scene. That part,
but I feel like she has no control of it.
I know she has no control over that, but I just feel like the type of character. I mean, the type of character I know Amanda Waller is. I know that not all the characters translate one to one all the time, but I feel like she's like such a powerful character that you wouldn't want to do that to, because you know what I mean. I just feel like that was the only thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I'm just like, Amanda Waller.
I feel like I know what you mean, but I also feel like she's a realist. Always like she's completely logical, right? She does not use emotion at all. So I felt like in the events of. The way they played it off was kind of smart at the end. Like, if you don't want this tape released, blah, 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 you will do this and you won't kill anybody or do whatever. Otherwise, this tape goes off. So I felt like, okay, that was like if I was her, like, would you get rid of everybody in your office? I don't understand why they were still working there after that.
Yeah, exactly.
That to me was a little like, that didn't make sense.
Like they should have done something where she's probably out of the building and that office blows
up. But it does show how polarizing that particular character can be, where everybody around her just is like, did she really do that? Is she really this fucking hardcore? And she is. So but I felt emotional connections with the characters too, where they were earned in this movie. First of all, we didn't mention Stallone as King Shark is great. That was funny. He nailed it. When he started speaking Spanish too, or like that, I thought it was funny.
Yeah, like, I think his delivery was
good. He was very well used. I mean, the only thing was like, I was like, well, I guess he's like the Hulk, right? That's pretty much what King Shark is.
Like a more adorable Hulk. And
right.
I think he's pretty popular too. I've seen like a lot of his figures like sell like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, after that movie, he was funny as hell. Like that was a great, like, and you know what it is? It was because the creator James Gunn knows how to create. He's basically a Groot of this movie. He's the Groot of this movie. Very simple but lovable character.
But you know who I didn't like in contrast to Shark? The Weasel. I thought the Weasel just was like so random,
and he had very limited.
Yeah, and this is like almost like, and it made me almost like, okay, I know maybe I don't know if Amanda Waller's putting this team together or if she's proving it, but it just seems really weird that you put this Weasel there, and then this first scene he's kind of like drowns and he does nothing else, and it's just like someone put this team together, like why is it like why I had this, like I didn't find any of it funny except for people to look at it like except for the werewolf joke, and then Idris Elba to look at him and go like, oh, this mother, like to kind of like look at it and discuss.
He's such a E-level villain, I guess. Like, who knows? I don't even know. I don't even know him. I don't even know him as anything. Right. So, and I think that's useless. And I think that's why he had such limited screen time anyway. Mm-hmm. But then it's kind of scary because he's not dead. So that's a whole nother thing. Mm-hmm. But going around the characters,
Idris Elba is
he was great.
What did you think
like
of Harley Quinn?
She to me, she did fine in the movie, and I like the things she did, and I like her use of that. The fact that she was this woman, and the guy wanted to use her, and I felt like it served a purpose a little bit. And then in my head, I was like, the real Harley Quinn would have probably killed this guy, and then she does. Whatever the reason was, she did. And I said, okay, that's to me is the character. I feel this character is really, and I think that she played a great job, but I still have that same feeling of everybody else has these abilities and she's just there. Yeah. She's just there to do stuff, and she's really good fighter and she can really survive. But there's times where I feel like they should just shoot her, but okay, I guess this is why they didn't. But like, I felt like she should have died a million times.
I think with Harley in this movie, it makes more sense because I feel like Team 1 is kind of like the decoy team, and she was on that team. The ones who got shot at the beach and everything. So, she's part of that team. So I think she was, probably meant to, I don't know if they meant for them to, die like that, but that was more, I guess, the more useless team compared to Team 2, which is the one that we really follow throughout the movie. She happened to survive by happenstance, not, just because.
Yeah, just because she's Harley Quinn. She's not going to die. Some characters you're not going to kill.
Of course not.
Wait. Going to characters, we got to talk John Cena. John Cena, to me, I thought he was really good because I seen him at Fast 9 and he wasn't good. This movie, I felt like he had his presence. He had a screen presence, and his character to me was very believable in how he was. You always got one that's super focused on the mission, which was him. And I loved his back and forth with Idris Elba as being two guys with the same exact ability. I thought that was very fun, like banter, especially that scene where they're trying to outkill. Yeah. And they're killing all the innocent people, which I thought was, to me, I was like, that was pretty funny.
Yeah. I think John Cena plays a really good, he plays the really good, corny, straight-laced type of guy character really well. And he asks some ridiculous questions.
Yeah.
In the beginning, starfish. The butthole thing, there was
there a connection?
Really, weird.
And he's serious though. Like the way
exactly. Even the scene where, I think King Shark tries to eat Ratcatcher, he's like, in his underwear and mad serious. And everyone, it's just really weird, personality. And I think it kind of works out in a way where you just don't see it, the twist coming at the end. But go ahead.
And here's the thing too. This is why I know I like the movie, because when I was watching it, I had that similar Game of Thrones feeling, because I heard before this movie that they were like, characters will be dying, and now they didn't say exactly who, but I'm like, characters will be dying, and I was hoping that certain characters didn't die. Like, that's because I was already bonding with them. Even though like they, there was that showdown between Peacemaker and whatever. I was like, damn, I didn't want any of them. I didn't want any. I started to like Rick Flag. I didn't want him to die. Yeah. I didn't want John Cena's character to die.
I didn't want jump ahead, but that was like,
I was like, damn. Oh, they after making us first, we hated this guy from the previous movie. Like I didn't care for him. This guy was so now I like him. Mm-hmm. Now I like him, and now damn. Then I was like towards the crazy end boss shit, which was really off the rails, bananas. I was like hoping, like I really liked the relationship between Ratcatcher and Idris Elba and stuff like that. Plus, I thought I looked at that girl. I was like, damn man, I looked up. She's cute, man. Portuguese, okay, all right, whoever you are. Yeah, I was like, because sometimes you're like, you know, who the fuck? I was like, dang, forget Harley Quinn. This is my new female cat. I don't care if you like that. But even that whole thing about him not liking rats, I liked. There was so much to me to like about the movie. Like, is it a great all-time superhero? No. Like Guardians to me is still better.
Guardians is better. I think
Guardians is better. A lot of movies are better. But this was to me, this was a good, enjoyable movie. Yeah, it's a good movie. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would recommend it to people. I heard some people compare and say it's not as good as Marvel. Like, okay, so it's still good. Maybe we're so used to DC being shit that maybe, you know, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, definitely. My Marvel has the popular zeitgeist right now. It has the zeitgeist.
Right.
So it's like there's no stopping. It's a juggernaut at this point.
Yeah.
And I think when people think DC, they always think lesser than. But you know, I think there's a lot of, like I said, critics really enjoyed the movie. At one point, it had like 100% Rotten Tomato. I don't know if that's changed
early. Yeah, it's changed. It's like 70, but it's 70. Still positive.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I I felt the same way too. I felt like, you know, it's a good movie. I feel like you know what this movie makes me feel like? I feel like I want to see a Bloodsport movie. I feel like
or something,
or a series. I want to see a Bloodsport movie or series.
As long as it's light tone, like not lighthearted, but like it has to be in that same vein as this movie. I don't want to see.
I don't know. I don't want to say whatever. However they're going to do it. I mean, you know, whether ready or not. But I do love the characters. I don't know if I think I cut you off.
I liked him a
little bit. But I liked his suit where he can take guns out of it and make it. Like I feel like that wasn't really touched upon. You just had to see it, but you know, it wasn't really expounded upon that he can make any part of his suit a weapon, which was really cool.
The weakest part of the movie, and this is similar to all comic book movies, except for like the best of the best ones. Mm-hmm. But the weakest part of this movie was the villain. And by villain, I mean whichever dictator they were using at this point, and then the question guy with the thing. And I didn't mind the starfish thing was so crazy that I enjoyed it just because of how bizarre it was.
And it was creepy too because the starfish had like this thing that had like other starfish that comes out and gets
and
once the lab's gone, like it kills.
This is my but it can talk through it too. I like that. Like this. See, I thought that was cool.
I feel like there were so many other things. I feel like they could have streamlined this movie by removing like the freedom fighter plot. I feel like maybe that was kind of like. I didn't really feel like it
was kind of glossed over.
It was very I forgot what they were doing. I'm like, okay, what's going on? Like,
I think the leader of them is actually like not important.
She's a character in DC.
Yeah,
but I wish they did something different.
Whatever,
because it was kind of like
it was kind of just there, right? Mm-hmm. It was kind of like we need this maybe to carry some part of the plot, but other than that. Yeah, like it was.
This part of the movie where I watched it, and I'm like, oh, and when they come at the end with the guns blazing in the office, I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot there's freedom fighters too. Like, what does that have to do with anything?
But here's the part where I knew it was kind of throwaway. It's like when they come in and they killed all like her fighters, and she was like, whatever. And I was like, okay, I mean, exactly. I guess I don't care about them either.
She looked distressed, but it's like that didn't really have an impact on the movie. Like that's not
right.
Like, you destroyed everything now. We can't do this. We can't do that. It was pretty much set up to be like a joke, pretty much.
Anyway. Yeah, because it was a joke, right? Because they were showing off and they were like, killing the wrong people
by making it a joke and not really like showing the consequence of that. It's like, well, you know, it doesn't really matter. You know,
I didn't invest in it. Exactly. But you know, it to me overall though, you know, if I had to give it a rating, I'd give it like a B minus.
I probably
something like that.
B minus.
Like
I say C. Baby,
it's not a C. It's not average. To me, it's not average. It's you know, it's not like I didn't feel like man, it was okay. I felt like this was good. I think this was good.
I would give it
it's definitely a steps in the right direction for DC in general. If they just realize, hey, let's get these guys to direct the movie and let them direct it. Mm-hmm. If it's bad, let it be bad because the director sucks. Mm-hmm. Let's not have studio interference because you could tell the studio had if any, they had very little interference in what James Gunn did. Exactly. This is a James Gunn
and also
movie.
Too, this is
it's
James Gunn started writing this movie. I don't know if you don't know the backstory, or other listeners don't know the backstory,
because they got him off of
they had to take him off of Guardians of the Galaxy, or Disney had fired him at some point because of some tweets he wrote, and because of that, WB swiped him up, and he started writing. So this is probably from a time where he wasn't working at Disney. Now that's kind of rectified. Now he's doing Guardians 3, and this is like his big comeback story. So like, not only like a lot of the people who are into the industry in Hollywood are kind of rooting for James Gunn, because he's kind of like the underdog for what happened. So they're really hoping this movie, does gangbusters. It didn't really do good in
no, it didn't. That's the other thing.
It had some, the box office,
and I think bad. And I think it was stupid, because I think part of it is because they rebooted a movie that a lot of people did not like.
Well, it's technically not a reboot. It's still in the same
universe.
It's
a soft whatever.
Mm-hmm. It's very soft, because they still, I guess they still characters.
It's still continual. Because they, Boomerang and whatever they knew each other. Hey, Harley, you're back in prison. Blah blah blah. But like, to me, and it didn't do well. I think it was just because the damage has not been lifted from the first one. I feel like. So. I think because it's similar to like the Wii and the Wii U, where it's the same name. Like some people, like I know most people know it's not the same movie, but like people like, what already? You don't even give people time to like let it die out. You think
it would have been better if it was Suicide Squad 2?
No, because the first one was. I think like it's just part of like. I think it's the same reason people didn't like the Amazing. I know you love the Amazing Spider-Man trilogy. I mean the duo, but like I think like just it being too soon doesn't give people the hype to like it's like way too soon.
And then also too, they probably didn't continue on the stuff that they maybe did like that they were kind of selling like the
Joker, could be for some people. Some people like
Deadshot,
Deadshot.
Yeah, so it's like a whole completely characters.
But yeah, let this be a lesson to you kids, though. All you kids out there listening. America is the land of second chances if you do good at stuff. If you're good at something, America will always forgive you. Doesn't matter what you tweet something, as long as you can play basketball well or make people money, they'll forgive you. Disney's brought them back, right? They brought James Gunn back for.
And the plus too, they probably don't want WB like to kind of like eat off of him. You know what I mean? So they're like, okay, we'll bring you back.
Yeah, so let's throw away our morals. Why don't we got rid of them? Exactly. Because the money at the
because I think what happened at that time too, did Aquaman do good? Because Aquaman was like one of DC's like not first, but it was like
I think
positive blockbuster. So I think maybe they were getting worried that maybe like DC might start catching momentum if they didn't try to like clamp down.
I think they did good. I mean, I know Wonder Woman was the first real positive blockbuster.
Yeah, Wonder Woman was really positive, and then Aquaman.
Not that second one though.
Yeah, the second one was kind of like this.
I watched a piece of that, but anyway.
Yeah, so I think Suicide Squad is a decent watch.
Good.
I think it's a decent watch. I think you have a higher.
I have a higher opinion. I would have went to the theater. Like if I could trade it, like I'd keep Space Jam 2 at home. Fast 9, I wish I could have watched at home. And I wish I would have went and seen this in the theaters, because you know what it was too? I watched it on a Friday night at midnight because I was like, I kind of want to watch this just because, and my expectations were low as hell, and I was just pleasantly surprised. And because I really went into it like I'm just gonna watch an hour of it right now and I'll go to sleep, and I just had to. I watched the whole thing. I just,
Though being that it's a James Gunn movie, what did you think about the music choices? This one compared to the Suicide Squad?
They fit. You could tell it's one director saying, I want this song playing here. Play it here. Like, maybe some of them were a little on the nose, but it doesn't matter. Like, it wasn't a million songs playing at a million different times. Listen, it wasn't like the writing thing was like, it was cheesy sometimes too.
The writing on the scenery.
Yeah, but at
some
the
of
same
it
time,
felt forced. Like like the beginning, like the when it says 3 days. I had to when I first saw that, I'm like, I didn't know I was supposed to read it. So when it came out, I was like 3 days later. But I think the only one that I liked the trend was because I think it was too many of them, And the second, the only one that I liked was when they went to Joheim. What's that place called? Jotunheim. that place where they have to like blow up.
Jotunheim. Yeah.
Jotunheim. There was like a cool transition where it showed the name, and as camera panned up, it was really like layers of different stuff, kind of like at the same angle, like kind of looked like it was a word, but it was really different stuff that made it like look like it was a really cool effect.
Yeah,
probably the best one.
But it was the best one.
Everything else exactly is like like the where it says "Meanwhile Harley." There was like too many of those. I felt like it was kind of overdoing it. Like he thought it was genius. Like, oh my god, I have a great idea. But it's just like, okay, you're kind of pushing it now. I think if they left it as just like, you know, the location or maybe something else, it would have been better. But yeah, I mean, the action was good. I mean, Harley Quinn had some great fight scenes in that red dress. Even though I hate that red dress, you know, I like that uniform she wore in the beginning was so cool. That was the first time she looked like Harley Quinn in the movies. Like, you know, she wasn't wearing anything like, you know,
like the newer Harley Quinn.
She wore like a bikini and like a halter top.
Yeah, I was like, what is
like this? She's like a stripper. Like, you know those like those slutty Halloween costumes. That's what it looked like for Harley Quinn in the first Suicide Squad.
She's so nothing against the actress either, but she don't got that body like that. Yeah, she's so skinny.
Exactly, you know, and then,
like to have her butt be out in that outfit, it's like, dang, you're not doing yourself
exactly.
You know? I mean, you're Margot Robbie, so you can crush me with your wallet, and all your fans will kill me. But like, you know, what she was wearing was much better. Just it looked cooler,
more real, a closer to the character. And I'm ashamed that I'm not ashamed, but it's sad that it was only for like the beginning scene because I thought it looked amazing. You know what I mean? And again, Deadpool. There's too many like Deadpool, you know, Bloodsport. These compound words,
comic book characters. You know? Peacemaker, whatever.
But Bloodsport's outfit was completely cool. The helmet. I just hope that they make a series from it. I know there's a Peacemaker series coming out, which I think will be a prequel. But
I'll watch that.
Yeah. But you know what? When he turned, I didn't really feel anything. I don't know why I didn't feel anything.
I don't think he turned. He didn't turn.
Oh, he was stuck to the mission. Yeah, that's true. He didn't really turn.
Yeah. That's what it means to me because it wasn't like, oh my god, he turned.
It wasn't the bad
guy. He said,
guy.
This is what Waller said to do. Now Rick Flag and stayed in his character saying, this is not what because he had a more traditional straight line. He'd do the mission, but you could tell he was like, I'm still a good guy. With Peacemaker, you could believe this is the mission, bro. This is what we were sent here. You know, clash, and I like that.
You know, and you know too. He bought Idris Elba character Robert Dubois brought up a good thing in the beginning. He said something about like, you know, there's a bunch of dicks on the beach. You know, would you eat it up? And he's like, you know, if that's my mission to eat all the dicks on the beach, I would eat it up.
Yeah.
And then he said something about like, you know, I feel like use that excuse just to justify, you know, stuff that you do or do anything that you want for justice or liberty. You know what I mean? Like using that to justify what you're doing because I'm doing it for liberty. You know, whether I kill kids or whatever like that.
Anything for peace.
Anything for peace. And I thought that was a great idea. And I kind of like, it could be something like politically that's there, like, you know, of course, an overarching meaning.
It's an extension of Amanda Waller in general. That's her.
True, yeah. Mm-hmm.
She will do anything. Mm-hmm. And he's the perfect.
But she's more for it, like, but the mission, I think he's more about it being a patriot. You know, like he's like more like hardcore.
Well, I believe if he's selected,
if they give a mission, he'll do it no matter what, and you'll see it out.
Well, yeah, yeah, he will. Yeah, he has no concern about whatever else if it's part of the mission. If killing 100 babies will bring peace, he will do it.
Yeah,
so but I know. But yeah, so I think we covered it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, there's nothing much. Even though we like most of the characters. And,
we didn't talk about Polka Dot Man, which is the
Polka Dot Man was cool. I liked his power visually. I just thought that the thing about his mother was kind of creepy.
It was, but that was the point.
Yeah, I know that was the point, but it was just like, okay, it was kind of creepy. Like, you know, it was like
it was so
like especially like in the dance club. Like I understand,
I
like
see her everywhere, and I'm like, oh shoot! And when I was like, what that was creepy. It was creepy.
That was kind of creepy. Like it's just like, you know, I want to like, you know, kill my mom or whatever. It was just like, okay, whatever. But I thought that, you know, he was kind of understated. I was surprised that he died like that though. You know, I was
to me he was expendable.
Yeah,
just Polka Dot Man. You knew he was. You knew if someone had to bite it with all those guys, it was definitely going to be him.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so, but it was just like he was there to the end for so long. I thought that okay, maybe at this point he would probably survive.
I don't really know that actor, but I definitely recognized him because I was like, hey, he's come a long way if he's this big of a movie.
Where's
So
he from?
he was in, well, I don't know other stuff, but I remember him. He was in The Dark Knight. He
As what?
was so there's a part when they Joker, it's in the broad daylight when they kidnap Harvey. No, they don't kidnap Harvey Dent. That's the scene where they pretend to kill Jim Gordon. Like he gets shot and he's like pretending to be dead. And so Harvey Dent gets mad and he steals one of Joker's guys. And he starts going to the guy. He's like, "You're gonna tell me, where the Joker is or whatever." And the guy, he's flipping the coin, and Harvey Dent's about to kill the guy, but then Batman comes and stops him. The guy that he's about to kill is the polka dot man actor.
Damn.
So he's, because he's like, "What do you think he's gonna tell you? He's schizophrenic or whatever."
Yes,
I'm like, "That's him."
Yeah, wow.
It's him. Yeah. I said, "That's the same guy."
DC is,
and I looked it up. That's
awesome,
the same guy.
DC is
DC connection right there. Right?
DC always. That's one thing I like about DC. I'll say about DC is that in all their projects, maybe I don't know if this was like by chance or maybe just them. You know what I mean? Like it could have been just the happy accident or happy coincidence. But I know in a lot of their stuff that they do, they always like get on, bring aboard like older cast members or things or people have done things in the past kind of related to it. Like if you watch a lot of Superman shows, they do that a lot where they bring in like a lot of like older cast members from different movies and kind of have them in new roles and things like that. So yeah, WB takes care of their people.
All right, brother, I gotta go.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching the 8BG. Let us know what you think. Please comment down below, and of course, please click that subscribe button. This is Steve and Sterl.
And Sterl.
We out.